There's no way someone's that fucking stupid.
Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another discussion video for today. After the 5th episode of The Walking Dead Dead City, we're going to talk about some villains in the modern day Walking Dead and why I believe that the current day Walking Dead writers do not know how to kill villains properly. Now, this is one that I wanted to discuss, especially after this recent episode of The Walking Dead Dead City. You know, I originally thought that this was a problem with The Walking Dead Ones Who Live or The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon. Well, it has also now become a problem for The Walking Dead Dead City. So it is all the three shows that are doing the same problem, and it needs to end if we have any sense of hope for villains going forward in the Walking Dead universe, okay? So, think about this for a minute. The Walking Dead has been on the air for 15 years. And for, I'd say about a good fraction of about 10 of those years, we had good villain deaths, good villain confrontations, right? Where I'm going to use the Governor as a good example for this. The Governor was introduced in Season 3. We learned all about him in Season 3. We developed his character all the way through. We saw what he went through, the trauma with his, daughter, of course, dying, and the death of his wife, and he lost his mind, and then he turned into the savage that he is now. And he got a bunch of bottle episodes, like Season 4, Episode 6, Live Bait, Season 4, Episode 7, Dead Weight. And by the time that you get the final confrontation, which is an entirety of an episode in Season 4, Episode 8, Too Far Gone, you get the fight between Rick and the Governor. You get the confrontation between him and the prison group. And when everything finally hits its peak, and you do everything you can with the Governor, you give him all the fights that you can, Michonne comes up behind him and kills him to save Rick, and the Governor's dead. And you cap it off with Lily shooting him in the head. Very satisfying season and a half for a villain. Very satisfying backstory, good lore, good knowledge on the character. You feel like you know him by the time he dies. You know what I mean? It's well developed. It's well told. Shane is introduced in the first episode of the show. You see the bond between him and Rick. And over the course of his journey, you get to see him slowly just go further away from reality to the point where by the time that he shaves his head, kills Otis, he becomes a massive threat for people on that farm. And the more people piss him off and the more people get into his business, you then start to see love drive him mad as he is getting further and further away from being with Lori, which is what he wants to be. You finally get to see his perspective and how far he will go to be with Lori. He will kill his best friend to do so. And when you get the fight between Rick and Shane in 18 Miles Out, they almost kill each other. That's true. They almost do. But he gives them one more chance. They let him go on for a bit longer. And then by the time that the Randall situation happens, Rick knows that there is nothing else he can do. We have reached the breaking point with Shane. He has given him chance after chance after chance. And they finally have to put this character to rest. Rick kills Shane, and it develops Rick's character into who he is moving forward. That is another villain death that they told in an incredible fashion. Absolutely incredible fashion. It's insane to me how good it was, and it was very well told. Alpha and Beta and the Whispers. Alpha was introduced as this ruler. She wanted nothing to do with anybody. Don't, cross her borders, and she doesn't, bother you. And they crossed. They betrayed them. She puts our crew's heads on pikes as a lesson to not cross her border. What do? They cross the border again to make it across this horrible winter and to get back to their communities. Well, Alpha retaliates, sends in a spy like Dante and punishes our group even more. And then Negan redeems himself for all the horrible actions that he's done, goes in there as a spy, and tries to actually take her out. He gets really, really intimate with Alpha to a point where it was pretty disgusting. But he does it for our group, and he does it so, Alpha can't hurt anybody else. And we get battle after battle. We get battles with, Alpha and Daryl. We get a bunch of fights here and there. And then finally in episode 12, when everything is at its climax, Negan kills Alpha, right? And you feel that satisfaction because of how lengthy and how detailed her character is. You know what I mean? That's how you tell a villain story. That's how you tell multiple villain stories. The Walking Dead did a great job. Now I would like to flash forward to current day. we have General Beale, who is the leader of the CRM. He talks to Rick on a bench. He talks about his sword. He explains the fact that he takes resources from other communities and uses them for themselves to expand. And then Rick kills him in his office like he's nothing. Yeah, great storyline, right? Wow, you see how short that was in comparison to the other ones? Pretty terrible, right? Madame Genet. All right. Madame Genet is one that's making these crazy super walkers, all right? She's a dictator of France, and we finally get her backstory. We see her lose her husband, and oh, by the way, let's fast forward real quick to her finding a bunch of people in the museum. Yeah, the people that she finds in the museum, that's just her group, okay? That's just the pouvoir. Oh, by the way, the episode after we tell her backstory, she dies in an old people's home, and that's it. What? What? The Dama in The Walking Dead Dead City. We finally get introduced to her towards the end of season 1. We find out that she cut Herschel's toe off, okay? So now we tell a backstory of her, trying to brainwash Herschel into, following her side and believing that, Herschel's mother is, not good for him, stuff like that. And they don't really show anything else, but obviously, you're going to get more context on it later, so it's no big deal. They also build up the fact that the Dama was this, reporter or whatever in New York, and she was kind of nutty, she was kind of crazy, and, she bit this guy at one point or another. We start to slowly learn backstory on the Dama. We don't see anything yet, but, let them cook, right? Let the story cook. And then episode 5, Croat kills her, she burns in a fire, and, the Herschel toe scene, I don't get that. And that's the end of the Dama. Do you notice something here? You notice something here? These villains have been seriously underdeveloped in the modern day Walking Dead. When you go back and you look at some of the big bads of the original series versus the big bads of these shows, it's actually unbelievable how underused and how lame they are making these villains. It's unbelievable. So, all I'm saying here is whoever's in charge of writing these villains and cutting them short in these spinoffs, which I assume is Scott Gimple, honestly, you need to develop villains better than this. You don't give us lore on villains, slowly build them up, and then, retreat at the last minute. That's not how that works, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I really think that they have a villain problem in this franchise. I really think they do. They ought to fix their shit because, honestly, it is very annoying to see this happen. I hope to see some kind of just something, I hope to see something happen for this and some kind of, well-told villain, hopefully in the future, be told, because I'm not a big fan of how they're handling these modern-day villains. They cut them off just as we're getting to know them, just as they're getting started, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying these villains have to continue forever. I'm not saying they have to go on for 2-3 seasons, no. But I'm saying this, develop them well, give them a full background before you tell their conclusion. And the franchise is not doing that. They're really, really just messing up these villains with all actors that I think are good. The actress for Genet, the Terry O'Quinn, for General Beale, the actress for the Dama. They're all fantastic actors. That's not the problem. They have what it takes. But they're not telling their stories correctly, and they're ending them abruptly to where when they die, and let me ask you this, do you guys care when the Dama died? I didn't. I didn't at all. Was I sitting there being like, yeah, you fucking get her, man. All the horrible shit she's done. No. No, I'm not doing that. When the governor, and you may say, oh, well, the villain death was for the Dama was shocking. It was shocking. Genet's death was shocking. It was shocking, yes, but shocking is just one piece of the puzzle. When a villain dies in a story, you want to feel satisfied when they died because they're such horrible human beings, you know what I mean? Or you get their perspective and you feel bad for them. However they tell the story, the worst thing to feel is nothing when the villain dies. And that's what they did to Dama. And that's what they did to Genet. And that's what they did to Terry O'Quinn's General Beale. And I'm getting really tired of it. I hope the franchise knows how to pull back from this and write a villain that is fully detailed and fully gotten into so that when they die, I actually feel something when they die. Like, when Shane died in the Walking Dead original series, when Rick had to put Shane down, that actually carried some weight. I felt that shit. That shit hit. You know what I'm saying? When the governor got killed, I was so fucking happy and I was so proud of Michonne. It was like such a relieving moment. You know what I mean? That the governor was dead, finally. You know what I mean? And Alpha, again, I felt such just relief when Negan did that shit, and it added to his redemption arc, and it added to the story, and it changed everything. The Walking Dead really changed when Alpha died. That's what I want for modern day Walking Dead. Give me a villain that can actually do that. You know what I mean? Because Janae, Dama, and General Beale, they are advertised as that level of villains, and they're not doing anything with them. So, I don't know. Let me know what y'all think. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? I would love to hear from you. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click subscribe and don't miss any other videos. Make sure to follow me on Dan Views Official on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys very soon for more videos of the Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.
Born in the dark alleys, city of concrete. Dan's reviews blowing up, never taste defeat. Walking Dead dissected every plot twist beat. World gone mad, TV junkies hit a treat. Typing up scripts, marathon through the night. His opinions hit harder than a street fight scene. Every episode, brain sharper than a knife. He's the beacon of critique, shedding TV light.